it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from the Slaves to Darkness army set sent to me early by Games Workshop, and today we are painting the Ogroid Theridons. Yes, they are epic, they are new, they are hench, they're big boys, they are, yes. I don't have enough painting handles to sustain all three on the large, extra large painting handle that I have, so I'm only going to be able to paint one at a time, except what we're going to be doing is painting all three of these. Now we're going to be painting them all exactly the same way, because I have this really cool recipe for the skin that I want to do, and I think it's going to look awesome. So with all that out of the way, what we're going to do is we're going to jump in and start painting them. They've been primed in grey Seer. What we're going to do is we're going to pop these to one side. Now don't worry, we will be picking out the individual details as they come up. However, for now we're just going to get all of the generic ones done first, and the first colour we're going to be using is Cygor Brown, and we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the Ogroid Theridons' flesh. So that's Cygor Brown all applied. What we're now going to do is going to take some thinned down Catachan Flesh, and we're basically going to relayer all of those muscles. So what we're going to do is just going to start here on this arm. I'm just going to paint this over the top of the flat of the muscle, just like this. Now it looks a little bit bright at first, but don't worry, it dries much darker. Especially over the top of this Cygor Brown. And what we're looking to do here is looking to avoid any of the recesses, just kind of really punch up this colour. So with that done, you should have some pretty cool looking flesh. Now what we're not going to do is highlight it just yet, we're going to leave that until later on. What we are going to do though is we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to all of the black details. Now the colour we're going to be using for this is Black Legion, and there are a number of black details all over our Ogroid Theridons. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by painting in the manes and any hair that they have, including any beards. Get this all over this half of the hair. Some of them have got some hair on their legs and things. You want to make sure you don't miss those. That. What we're also going to do is we're going to use this over the top of their hooves. Like so. I'm going to use this over the top of any of the kind of like sort of soft armor that some of them have. So for example, this guy here on his arms, you can see those kind of dark leather braces, and we're also going to be using this over the top of any of the kind of sort of hefty straps that we've got on them. So for example, we've got this guy's chest. Like that. So with all of that Black Legion applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red and we're going to apply this to the tabards. And with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde. We're going to apply this over the top of the horns, the teeth, and any skeletal bits that they've got. So some of them are carrying some trophy skulls, for example. With that Skeleton Horde applied, we're then going to take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to apply this to any of the wraps on the weapons. Just like this. This would be the same if you were doing the monstrous axes. With that Agrax Earthshade applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this to, well, the majority of our metallics. So we've got areas such as the flat areas of the shield, like that sort of thing. We've got the armor panels, we've got any chain mail armor that they're carrying. Carrying? They're wearing it. Well, I guess they're carrying it. We're going to be applying this over the top of the weapons. As well as any of the kind of chains and belt buckles and things like that scattered around the models. And so with all of that Iron Warriors applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. We're going to apply this to all of our remaining details. So with all of that Retributor Armour applied to our Ogroid Theridon, what we're now going to do is we're going to shade him. The colour we're going to be using to do that is Targor Rageshade. We're going to be applying this all over the top of all the metallics, so the silver and the gold. So with that Targor Rageshade applied, our Ogroid Theridon is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. The other two are at the same level as this, but we haven't done the banner or the instrument yet because we're going to be showing those at the end. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump in and we're going to take him to the next level. I'm going to do this by adding some highlights. Now the first one is going to be some Knight-Questor Flesh. I'm going to be applying this to all of our Ogroid Theridon's skin. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start picking out all of the edges, for example, around here on the face. And so with that Knight-Questor Flesh all applied, what we're now going to do is going to take some Karak Stone, and just around the face what we're going to do is we're going to add this as our little spot highlight, just on the sharpest points. And with that, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Yriel Yellow. I'm going to apply this over the top of the Theridons' eyeballs. Like that. And like that. So with that done, what we are now going to do is we're going to move on to all of the hair and the hooves, and the colour we're going to be using to highlight these is Stormvermin Fur. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take this Stormvermin Fur on our brush, and we're just going to very carefully now start picking out all of the strands. Just like that sort of thing. Similarly, on the hooves, what we're going to do, we're going to draw lots of little lines going along them. Just like that. And with that Stormvermin Fur applied to all of our black fur, what we're going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our remaining black details. So with all of those black details done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to highlight the tusks and the skulls and any other bone details that you might have on your Ogroid Theridons. Just like this. So with that Screaming Skull applied to the teeth and the tusks and the skulls at his waist, what we're now going to do is going to move on to the metallics. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some Iron Warriors, and we're just going to relayer the kind of dull flat part of the blade just here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that Iron Warriors on our brush, and we're just going to apply this over the top of this section. Just like that. And this will just restore a little bit of that shine in there. Like so. You can do this over the cutting edge as well if you want to, but it looks quite effective just doing it on this section. like that. And if you want to, you can also apply this over the top of any kind of flat armor panels. So for example, just this one just here. Like that. And similarly on the shield as well. If you want to brighten this up a little bit in spots, just add a little bit of that Iron Warriors. And with that Iron Warriors applied to those sections, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Hand Steel. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our silver details. Just picking out all of the edges. And with that done, we're then going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the gold. So with that done, all of our metallics are now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. And we're going to apply this as a highlight to our red tabards. So with that done, this Ogroid Theridon is now finished. Doesn't he look fantastic? So we're going to pop him off the painting handle, and what we of course have are the other two to work on. Here they are at the same level as the other guy, as you can see. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the horn. I'm going to show you how to paint all of that, and then we're going to finish off with the banner. So we're going to pop the banner to one side just for now, and we're going to grab our horn player, and the first colour we're going to use is Flesh Terror's Red. Now the recipe here is exactly the same as it was on the tabards and things, except what we're going to be doing is we're going to be applying this to this kind of strip of fabric that's running down here, just like this. And so with that done, we're then going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this in here to the inside of the horn, like that. With that Black Legion applied, we're then going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to apply this to the horn itself. And so with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over the top of pretty much all of our remaining details on the horn. The only thing we're not going to be doing this over is the mouthpiece. As well as that little bit of trim just there. And with that now done, we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. We're going to apply this over the remaining details on the horn. And then from this point onwards, it's just a case of shading it and highlighting it in exactly the same way as we've done the rest of the colours. There's no difference here. So we're going to shade and highlight this guy off camera because we've already done it. We've done all these colours, you don't need to see it again. If you want to remind yourself of how to highlight the silver and the gold, you can just rewind the video. Same for the red. So what we're going to do is going to pop him off the case, off the stand handle thing. And we're going to grab up our banner. And we're actually going to start with the flag itself here. So the colour that we're going to be using is Black Legion. We're just going to load up our brush here. And we're just going to start applying this all over. That glorious colour. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to do the freehand on the banner. Now you could do any design that you want to do, but I'm going to try and do the one that we've got here on the box art because I think it looks really, really cool. So the colour I'm going to be using for this is Mephiston Red, and I've got it thinned down just that little bit more than I would normally, sort of 2 or 3 parts water. So it's quite runny, or it's just got a lot more flow to it. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by tracing out our design before blocking it in. I'm going to do this in blocks, right? So the place we've got to start is you just got to kind of looking at the box art here. We've got one big ring that goes from here all the way around to here. We've got a second one that starts around here and it comes around to around about there. So we're going to start on this smaller ring here. So we want to aim for this little area here. We're going to add a little dot like that. We're going to put another little dot down here with the Mephiston Red, like that. So that's where we know that starts. And then, kind of like a brush length up from this corner of the flag, we're going to pop a dot sort of around about there. I'm going to pop another one just here, like that sort of thing. And now what we have to do is draw the curve. So we're just going to very carefully now start with our lower ring, and this dot is going to go to this dot here. So I'm just going to start here. I'm going to start very carefully drawing a curved line that comes around that. Then we're going to do the same thing again on our next one. Just like that. So we should have this kind of C shape. Now what we want to do is we want to position what are going to be our chaotic spikes. Now we know that one of them is going to end around about here, up there, like that. We know that another one is going to end around about here, this sort of thing, just there. And we know that another one is going to end round about it's always quite difficult. Round about there on that corner. So we know that these are where our endpoints are going to be. So this is where we're going to draw our kind of jagged edges down underneath this area. So we just want to kind of trace over the top a line that goes to around about here and here and around about there. So looking at it, this is now going to be too straight. So now I need to just kind of figure out the angle of that. I'm just going to put a dot there, like that. So now, as mentioned, we're going to draw that line going from here down to here. This doesn't have to be a perfect line because we're going to be adding a bunch of extra lines and things. We just want it to make sense whilst looking at it. This one's going to be the trickiest one. Then we have our other one. It's going to come along like that. So we then have our final concentric circle that we're going to do before we take a quick break. And then that is going to start with a dot here on this end of this little tear, like that, and a dot just about there. Again, just kind of like half a brush width length away from each other, there and there, like that. And then same again at the other end up here. This is going to kind of be in line with that chain. So we want to pop the top dot just there, like that, and then about half a brush length, I'm going to pop a dot just there like that. And now we want to draw that circle in once again. like that. And like that. So now we have our design mapped out. So we're back now from our little break and we're going to continue with our mapping out. So I'm going to continue with the Mephiston Red here. What we're going to do is we're going to start painting in the kind of the arrows on the banner itself. So what we want to do is we want to effectively pop a little dot for this big arrow that we're going to do here. We want to pop one around about half a brush width away from this section just here, around about there, like that sort of thing. And then similarly, we're going to do a little dot just here, like that. This is going to form our arrow. So now what we can do is we can draw that in and just use those as a guide track to get us there with our straight lines, like that. And like that. And we can always bring this one down a little bit more if we want to, but we don't have to right now. So similarly up here, just going to lengthen that line just a little bit. We're going to do a slightly squatter one, so just increasing that line length. Going to do a little dot here, and we're going to do a little dot just here. And then once again, going to use our guide track. Like that. We want some additional spikes in between, so we're going to pop a little dot here and a little dot there, and we're going to draw a line like that. And we're going to do the exact same thing just here, adding a little dot. Nope, that's not in the wrong place. And a little dot just a little bit further down, there and there. Then we're going to draw a line like so. And then finally, we're going to do another one just down here, but doing a little dot just there and adding a dot of this red there, like that. I'm going to draw a line going between, like so. So now comes in the fun part. We start blocking things in. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to start with our concentric circles. We're just going to start blocking them in with the Mephiston Red. Like so. So with that blocked in, what we now can do is we can start kind of widening out lines and start connecting up these arrows. So we're going to just connect up the arrows to our line. And then when we widen it out, it'll make that arrow make a little bit more sense. There's one arrow. And then, as mentioned, we're going to widen out that line. Like that. And like that. Then we're going to block it in. And then what we want to happen is we want this to kind of come to a tapered point. So that's kind of like a little spike. So we're just going to create our little spike at this end. And that lets us know kind of how that's going to marry up, like so. And so we just want to kind of carry on like this until we're happy with it. So I'm going to do a few more, and then I'll come back for the last few flourishes. So with our design all blocked in, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to use this to correct any mistakes that we've made. So I've got a couple of little extra blobs and things that I don't want. For example, just around here, like that. Got that little dot there from the aborted spike, and that one just there as well. Like that. Now we've got a bit of widening out just around here, which I don't want either, so I'm just going to very carefully use the Black Legion like that, just to correct that. Same around here. Like that. Got a bit of Mephiston Red in here that I don't want, like so. And then around here, same again, I've got a little bit of brush marking that I don't want, so I'm just going to apply this Black Legion like this. Again, a little bit more. It's just a case of taking it steady colour in and correct. Like that sort of thing. It's already starting to look better. Let's do a little bit more around here. Like that. What we can also do here is we can take this Black Legion, we can add little cuff and scuff marks to our design to make it seem a little bit less clean. So we can just like add little kind of nicks and scrapes. Just building them up and placing them wherever you please. Just like that sort of thing. So with that Black Legion correction and those little nicks and scrapes applied, what we then do is we take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to apply this over the top of the whole of the banner. So with that Agrax Earthshade applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet and we're going to do a pretty reasonably wide highlight around our design. So you just take your time here. again, should you make any mistakes, just use a little bit of Black Legion to tidy it up. So with that Evil Sunz Scarlet highlight applied to our design on the banner, I don't know if I pointed it out, I probably didn't, I'll find out in editing, but I did apply that Agrax Earthshade to the wrap on the standard as well, because that's what we did on the wraps on the swords and things. However, we're not here to talk about wraps, no, what we're here to do is finish off our banner design, and what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Fire Dragon Bright. I'm going to use this now to highlight kind of the outside track of our banner. So we just want to kind of highlight along here and along here like this. And we're going to do the inside bit of the outside track. Like that. Then when we get to down here, effectively what we're going to do is we're just going to do these outward facing bits, or upward facing bits I should say. It's got that bit there. Get that bit, and that bit like that. But otherwise on the inside track we're just going to leave it, whereas the rest of it we are going to still run this little, it's almost like a spot highlight but it's not really, over the rest of the banner design. So with that done, our design is now finished. So we can now quick fire finish off the rest of the banner. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone, and I'm going to use this to highlight all of the black edges on our flag. So with that Dawnstone applied, we are going to add a spot highlight in just a moment, but what we are going to do is we're going to just work on making sure this banner looks nice and finished. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take some Iron Warriors. I'm going to paint this over the top of the pointed star at the top here, as well as the remaining parts of the banner pole, so it comes down like this. And additionally, we're going to use this to colour in the chains. So with that Iron Warriors applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. We're going to apply this to our remaining details on that banner pole. So with that Retributor Armour all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Targor Rageshade and we're going to shade that all over the top of both the silver and the gold, and then we are going to highlight them in the same way as we have done all the other silver and the gold, so we're not going to film that again. And as our final thing, whilst we're waiting for that Targor Rageshade to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Administratum Grey and we're going to add this to the sharpest points on the banner as our little spot highlight, as promised. And so with their bases now complete, the Ogroid Theridons are now finished. And what a fun thing this was to do. It sounds like sarcasm, but honestly, like, that banner was a real challenge and I really enjoyed doing it, and I'm incredibly pleased with the results that I've managed to get there. I didn't think I was capable of something like that, and then I went and did it. So I know that's not much comfort to some people, but I'm just very, very, very proud of myself, and I hope it's found it very useful for you. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/Warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/Warhipster. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these amazing, wonderful people have done. And if you really like this video or you just want to shoot me some support, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.